So you may be one of these individuals that recently just landed your first job. And if that's the case, congratulations. You may also be a person that have had a few jobs, but you have a job now that you want to keep, that you really like. And so how can we keep the peace in our work environment? How do we get along with other people? Well, there are some things that I've picked up over my years of working in various jobs, being around different people. I found that some things are really good to do and some things that are not so good. And so I'm just going to chat about that for just a moment. So the first thing you don't really want to get into a conversation about is religion and politics. It goes without saying. And that's because, man, it's hard to find anyone that's going to completely agree with the way you view the world. And you know what? That's kind of okay though, right? And so let's not get into the nuances of our beliefs and our political ideology, because it's kind of a personal thing. And it really doesn't, work well in a work environment. It's something that really should not be gone into, at least with much detail. And so you should avoid those topics as much as possible. Now, the next thing would be to really keep in check your level of expectations of others. And so is what you expect from others reasonable? Because what I see a lot of times when people get mad at other people at work is because they have really high levels of expectation. You know, a lot of cases it's just unreasonable. And basically, you know, what I do though, as I actually look at what's reasonable, and then I step it down even one more notch. And it's even that much easier to get along with people when you have lower expectations. And this is not to say that you don't have high standards for yourself, but when it comes to others, it's so much easier to get along when they have a lower bar of admission. You know, when you see them and go, man, you got your job done, and even more, because your level of expectation for them is not so like impossible. And that's a lot better than having these high bars of excellence that people have to achieve every day or else, you know, and that's not how we want to go about this. And what typically happens is people, they have cycles, right? One day they perform at a higher level, or they produce a lot more of certain things. And the next day they may pull back a bit, and then the next day they go back up. And so, you know, we just kind of have to look at overall, like, how do they do, you know, over time, and not be so judgmental about how they're doing right now or in today or even this whole week. But what about like this whole month or over the past few years? You know, these are some very important things. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody's, you know, even has a bad week. And so you don't want to like just, cause all kinds of long-term problems because of short-term issues. Another thing that I've noticed is that people don't like other people complaining. It's just not fun to be around all that negativity. And people also avoid and they don't trust people who gossip. And so I highly encourage you, if you have a habit of complaining or a habit of gossiping, get rid of that. And what you'll see is people will respect you more. They will talk to you more about stuff. And just, you know, overall, it's just going to be more pleasant to be around other people, you know. So the thing about people who gossip, though, if they're willing to talk about other people behind their back to you, then don't you think, though, that they're willing to talk about you behind your back and to other people? And this is what you typically find. Now, another thing, though, for me, it's a big deal, is to stay professional as much as possible. I mean, there are some work environments that are very informal, but even in those, you want to have some boundaries. And, you know, just because you can wear a certain type of attire that's really dressed down, or just because you can speak in a way that's very, you know, informal and relaxed, doesn't mean that you always want to do that. Another thing, though, is also the whole idea that, you know, we all have to go to work and it's just drudgery and, you know, it's just so difficult. I mean, it can be difficult if you make it difficult. And you can make it, your job difficult for others as well. You can make other people's jobs difficult if you don't get your job done. And people really don't like other people that come to work not ready to work. If you're not ready to work, then you're going to have enemies right off the bat, because you're probably going to interfere with other people in their job. So this is what I found. People coming to work and they're not even, dressed right, or they're not even fully like ready to go in terms of that. Like they're still putting on like a jacket or putting a tie on or whatever, or they're in the bathroom changing because they came to work in different clothes. You don't want to be that kind of person. You also don't want to be that kind of person that didn't eat before they show up and they're trying to eat, some kind of meal real quick, like in the first 10 minutes of their shift because they couldn't figure out any time to eat before they're supposed to work. I mean, people don't like people like that. Also, people who come to work tired and they're not able to focus and they're just, basically, they just have no clarity and they're moody. People don't like people like that either. So if you want to keep the peace with other people at work, if you just want to get along, I mean, you want to avoid certain topics. You want to make sure your expectations are in check with others. You don't want to complain or gossip. You want to be as professional as possible, have good boundaries. You also want to be ready to work when it's time to work. And if you can do those, I mean, things are going to get a lot better for you. A lot better for you. So try those out and let me know how it works. Thanks for checking out the video. Catch you later.